On my channel, I intend to provide you with a safe platform to discuss the intersections of your entire being, to be able to be comfortable in your own skin, in mission or position. There is no one like you, and we all have a purpose and message. I, for one, am a Black woman, mother of 4, a military veteran, and a wife, and a social worker, just to name a few. From my channel, I hope that you learn more about military families and social workers. 3 of the social work values are my aim in each video: importance of human relationships, dignity and worth of the person, and social justice. No matter what you initially think when you hear social worker, there is more to the profession. Trust me. Stay locked in by subscribing to the channel, and be sure that you hit that notifications bell so you don't miss any new uploads. Without further ado, on to today's episode. So what's going on, folks? So I don't got much that I want to talk about, but Social Workers Month and Women's History Month is coming to a close. And I want to discuss a few articles that I have had saved for quite some time and just run a few ideas across you guys. And if you have some input, some thoughts and stuff, please be sure that you go ahead and drop those thoughts in. And let me start off by representing. Got my shirt, another Rob Naylor shirt, Black Therapists Matter. And y'all know I've always got to represent for my homeboy. So before Social Work Month closes, I want to talk about the fact that social workers are in great need in lots of places and lots of situations around here, right? Like I said, my aim is to get you all to understand that social workers are not just working in family and children's services, that we do a great many things. If you didn't catch my interview that I did with a medical social worker and with another clinical social worker, please be sure that you go back and check those videos out. So the first article that I'm going to go over with you guys, or I'm just going to share with you guys, is from January. It's old, January. It says BART, it's a transportation company, that they're going to hire social workers instead of filling police officer vacancies to deal with social problems. Okay, so where is this at? I can't remember where it is. But so the whole point is that they're going to use $2 million to fill 6 vacant police officer positions to hire social workers trained to respond to homelessness, mental illness, and drug addictions that plague the train system. Why is that important? Is because, as we already know, that the continued problem is that every time when police respond to situations, they may not have the proper skills and trainings that they need to deal with mental health. So I'm going to bring in on my line one of my guests that is in Minnesota. Okay, thank you, David. I was going to share the article soon. So I'm going to bring in one of my fellow colleague social worker to join me, Joshua Yankey. So Joshua, I lost him. We're getting back. So while I'm waiting for him, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna share so you can at least see what the article looks like. So here's the article. All right, we got Josh back. Okay, so here's what the article looks like. So as I said, here's the headline: BART to hire social workers instead of filling police officer vacancies to deal with social problems. Okay, so I'm not gonna go in depth with it, but I will put the link so you can see that there are twice as many that were approved, okay, in the agency's new bureau, progressive policies, yeah. So they will also redeploy 10 existing sworn officers, 2 sergeants, and 2 community service officers to the bureau. So, Josh, I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. As my guest. Uh-oh, I can't hear you. Join your audio.
Hello.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Here we go. Thanks, Josh, for joining me. So, got to give my ritual with my guest. First of all, thank you for joining me, fellow social worker. So, let's tell the people what you do as a social worker, how long you've been doing it, and then also, what is your birth order?
Okay. You said tell them how long I've been practicing social work, and then
Yep.
my birth order. All right.
And exactly what you do as a social worker.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. So yes, my name is Joshua Yankey. I have been in social work um, for I think it's been 4 years now. I graduated from West Virginia University with the MSW in 2017. Um, but before my master's, I had done sports and exercise psychology, which is like performance psychology, which was working with athletes and stuff like that. But I decided to go into social work, in order to really make a difference in people's lives and make a change in any way I could see fit to help people and be there for people. So I graduated from the MSW in 2017, and I started out as a community support worker once I graduated. And that was basically, doing case management, working in the community, and stuff like that. So actually working directly with the clients to help them with their day-to-day lives. And then after I was licensed in 2018. So I waited a little bit for the license. I put it off for a little bit, but I eventually got it in 2018. And at that point, I was able to apply to become a therapist. And I was actually a therapist in Maryland. Um, so working in Gaithersburg, Maryland, I was a therapist there. And so I was working with kids and their families and doing um, family therapy as well as going into the schools to work with kids in their school environment as well, collaborating with the teachers and stuff like that to really set up something that would be effective for the kids and dealing with them, or in dealing with school and everything they're going through. So I was doing that for a while. After COVID had happened, I actually ended up leaving that job. So working with the kids online was so difficult. So, so like keeping them engaged and keeping them, it was so difficult trying to. So I ended up actually leaving that job, and I'm now working in DC as a therapist as well, working with adults. So, and then my birth order. So my birth order is actually I'm the middle child. So I am the middle out of three kids. I have an older brother who's 3 years older than me, and I have a younger sister who is 7 or 8 years younger than me.
So that's a big gap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like you fit that stereotype of the middle child?
I think so. Like I noticed myself being in the role of kind of keeping things together a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Trying to hold everything together and make everybody feel and all that. And then my siblings also think that I'm the favorite child. I don't know if that's a part of being the middle child, but they think that I'm the favorite. So I have to continuously deny that.
All right, no problem. So happy Social Workers Month before we close it out.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoy the month. So on this first article that I was talking about with BART hiring social workers, though it is an old article, did you have any inputs or opinions about that?
So you said about the BART hiring social workers?
Yeah, to fill those police officers positions.
Man, I mean, I think that's a great thing. I think it's a great thing to have social workers that can respond with the police officers, um, because it's really they're really able to um, inform the police officers as far as what could be going on and how to handle the situation. I don't think, however, that the social workers can respond to those things by themselves,
Right.
uh, because we can do like conflict resolution, and we can, kind of de-escalate as much as we can. But if a situation is so escalated to a certain point, we can't really deal with that ourselves. We still need the support of the police officers. So it's not something that can replace the police officers. I know that sometimes the rhetoric on social media and stuff is like to replace the police officers with social workers.
Right.
But I think to replace them would be hard, but it would have to be a collaboration, of working together to deal with these situations and de-escalate rather than them kind of escalating. Because these police officers also need. I think they should be in mandatory therapy, honestly.
They should have something.
Yeah, I
Which
was
of
listening
course I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna talk about the Derek Chauvin trial before we end this conversation. For
to
sure.
for sure, for sure. But yeah, I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and they were saying that I can't remember what country they were talking about, but certain countries that you have um, to be a social worker or to be a therapist, you have to do a certain amount of hours of therapy yourself
Okay.
to be certified to practice in therapy. And so, I could see that for being, we should have some type of therapy to make sure we're not, leading people astray, or we're not,
Taking on
causing any,
things.
yeah, or taking on any harm, or I'm sorry, taking on anything that we can't handle or causing any harm to individuals that we're serving. And so the police are a serving entity as well. They're supposed to serve the public.
Yeah.
So I think they should be required to,
Yeah.
because they're handling guns, you know. So yeah, I think they should be required to have therapy and continue with like just checking in with them just to make sure they're good. To check their biases as well, like things like that. It has to be a collaboration with social services and the police officers.
Most definitely. So
Yeah.
the next article is from February, and it's called "Nobody Knows What a School Social Worker Does," and that's hurting our students. Which is good that you mentioned that you worked in a school as well. So
Yeah.
the writer talks about, her frustrations that she's being called to do all these extra duties that are not within her job description. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we all care about the well-being of children and helping answering the phones and helping man the doors and all of that, but that's not what a school social worker does.
Right. It's not. It's not. I mean, it's really hard, like, because their description. I wasn't actually I wasn't employed by the school.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually employed by a private company. Sorry, let me get myself situated here. Yeah, I was actually employed by a private company that um, they would send us into the school. So we would have to
Okay.
kind of contact the school and let them know that we're the therapist working with them. So the kids that we would work with also had a school therapist, but or not school therapist, but a school social worker.
Right.
So the school social worker wasn't expected to do therapy with them. Uh, they were really expected to coordinate the services for them and to check in here and there when they can. But the problem is they have so many kids, you know, it's hard for them to really keep track of everybody, you know.
Right.
And then what I noticed with being at a school in general, it's so easy to get pulled into the everyday stuff that's going on. Like somebody's fighting down the hall, they're gonna call you to come see if you can
Yep.
help out with this and that, and see if you can de-escalate so and so, and you know, so you're gonna be getting pulled in so many directions. It just seems like it'll be so hard to really keep track and know that you're helping everybody that you can. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
The one paragraph says school social workers serve as advocates, mentors, therapists, analysts, community liaisons, activists, and visionaries. School social workers work in schools, mental health clinics, hospitals, prisons, retirement communities, corporations, and in government. So they're supposed to assess the student's overall functioning, provide therapeutic and crisis management, advocate for the children. So I mean, pretty much everything we do, but
Mm-hmm.
in the school community. And so our other guest that may join us, I don't know. She was a school social worker, and you know she can speak to that. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know
I mean, I remember looking at like the job because I wanted to do that's what I wanted to do is be a school social worker. But I remember looking at the job description and just realizing that there's so much stuff on there. Like they can include pretty much anything in that in the job description that they give you. They can pretty much fit anything into that. You
right.
know, like whether it's even covering lunch or watching the kids for a certain amount of time, or it could really include anything. And so, you know, it seems like a difficult position that you have to really be able to manage a lot of moving parts.
Right. And then hope that people listen to you and be like, that's really not what I'm supposed to do. They need
Right.
definitely need more school social workers.
Mm-hmm.
When even though still with the de-escalating the situation and stuff, you know, when the children get sent out of class for disruptive behavior or whatever, instead of like being sent to the principal and all this other stuff, right? That's where the social worker can come in handy. And
Right.
that's why what was I gonna say? I got sidetracked real quick. That's what I was noticing about this video that I didn't send you, but I definitely want to talk about this other video that the social worker should also be like the first line of defense in situations. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. My kids'
Yeah.
high school, they let the principal and the community liaison have already said, like they know that a lot of their students come to school just to get a meal, right? So if the principal knows that, surely the social worker knows that. So,
Right.
and I was telling my sons, like, yeah, these girls or boys or whatever, they might be cutting the food, trying to, you know, be whatever, you know, the class clown. But it could be
Mhm.
they're hungry, they're whatever, there's family issues at home, you know, whatever, people don't know how to act. So
Right.
comment what we're talking about. We're just closing out social work month and we're going over some articles that I have saved to discuss the various roles that social workers have is what we're talking about. So
Let's talk about the school social workers.
yeah.
Yeah, but I see this stat in this article with the school social workers that in New York City public schools, there are only 1,320 full-time social workers that service
Yeah,
1 million students.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That
That's
is ridiculous.
that's like even like with like the nurses, you get the school
Mm-hmm.
nurse and they going back and forth across schools. Like, no, you need a nurse at the school at all times. Like the nurse's office should always be open. So same thing here.
Yeah. So yeah, but I noticed like in Montgomery County schools, the main ones who are interacting with the social worker is once you have problems. So it's like you already have to have some problems to even be able to deal with the social worker, you know, and I feel like we got to be more proactive with that type of stuff, you know, but right now it's kind of just like, you know, once there's the issues, if you don't have issues then you're good, you know, then, you know, keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
But I think we got to try to be a little bit more proactive to catch the issues before they start happening.
Yeah. And they got to be, oh, dang. What? Sorry, my son sent me a message. Yeah, before the issues, they got to be open and willing to come talk to the social workers and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about that. That's the video that I was telling him that I didn't send him, but I have it saved and open. I have it saved and open to talk about. So the next article that, let's see, what's the date?
I saw a good comment on here.
This one about the 5-year-old?
Yeah, did you see that video?
Yeah. That's the one that I told you that I have saved that we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah. It's rough, yeah.
I didn't. You know what? Actually, I didn't watch the video. I heard it, but I have it pulled up and ready to go. So the next article is from February as well. How to be a friend to a therapist 1 year into the pandemic. So mainly for you viewers, that's mainly who this article is for, because me and Josh, we know. So this article is talking about the fact that therapists mostly spend their time checking up on other people, that when you're a friend of someone who is a therapist, that it's important to kind of check up on them every once in a while. Ask them about how their day is doing, because they're going to always shift the conversation to you. And I kind of did a video on that before when I was talking about when people think you're strong, sometimes you're not always the strong person and you want to have someone to talk to. Well, now speaking as a therapist, you know, as the friend of a therapist, sometimes you got to check in on us too. Your thoughts, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it well that, you know, to check in on us. I know it's hard because of, you know, like we can't talk about everything that's happening, but, you know, we can talk about the things that we're dealing with. Like we can talk about how certain things made us feel without giving details of certain clients or whatever it may be. So yeah, it would be good to really check on us, ask us about our job, like, you know, and even ask us kind of like, what things do we do? You know, just being interested and not trying to get us to do therapy on you, but just to
yes.
You know, a little bit about what therapy is. You know,
I'm not sure how this is showing on Facebook. I know it's showing in YouTube, but I'm gonna put that up there in case anybody wants to go read it. Yeah. You just gotta be. You said don't try to be their therapist. I know. that was true.
I mean, and I don't know. I find that kind of hard. Like, it's something that I have to learn how to do. How to not be assessing people like as I'm listening to them or when I'm around them. To try to move away from that, to get out of that role. That's something that I have struggled with, especially being around my family and stuff like that. Like, you know, what I'll do is I'll notice it, like I'll notice certain things, but then I just have to keep it to myself.
Yeah. You know? But then at the same time, it's like now they'll be a little bit more willing to listen to what you got to say too. Cause it's like, okay, well, you're the therapist. So Okay,
Mhm.
okay. Well, what you think? Like,
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true. You know how they told? I don't know if they told you in school, one of the golden rules was do not do therapy with your family and friends.
yeah,
Like you'll be, it won't be good. It won't turn out good.
right,
Um, so it's like a balance that you have to find with noticing those things and letting them know, but then also kind of letting them let it, like once you've said it, don't keep trying to analyze that. Like that shouldn't be every interaction that
right.
you're analyzing the people you're around.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
But it's hard to get out of that role. I've that. Like trying to tell, I do CBT a lot, so like just trying to teach CBT to like my family members, like my siblings, like that's something I've had to move away from that because I would always try to put that into my advice to them, especially like when they come to you for advice about just everyday stuff like my friends getting on my nerves, that's something that my sister would say, like my friends are getting on my nerves. I don't want to hang around them anymore, and like I have to pull myself out of therapist mode and just kind of be big brother mode. So definitely a balance.
Somebody said, "Can you see this comment?"
Yeah, I can see him. I'm a therapist.
Okay, I moved my screen, so now I got all messed up. Okay, so then I shared this
I think I'm a
YouTube,
therapist for my kids. Yeah.
yeah, this YouTuber's channel, 5 reasons why social workers should run for public office. And so one of my guests that I had before, she actually ran for public office once. She didn't make it past the primaries, but she did indeed run. So the reasons that this guy covers here, I mean, they're. Did you watch his whole video? Did you watch the whole thing, or did you watch any of it?
I just kind of had to skim through a little
Yeah,
bit.
he pretty much all he did. He just pretty much just named like the qualities that it takes to be a social worker. Yeah, that's pretty much.
Public office. Okay.
Empathy, being a planner, um, community organizer, stuff like that. But the main thing is about the empathy, so that when you're in the meetings and trying to make the laws and stuff, that you can be able to look at the whole person and the whole concept. And this particular guy, in his day job, what is he? He's either a school social worker or a program, or he's in COPA during the day. So then, as his political office, he's on the city council. So he's serving the same people, and he's just kind of bringing in together all of this knowledge that he has. So he knows, what are the issues that are plaguing that particular community from his day job. Now, for me, you look frozen, but I can't tell, is he really frozen or is it just me? Did y'all hear everything I said, or was I talking to myself? I don't know. I always got computer issues.
That was me.
Okay.
I got cut off. Sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, I heard you were saying that he was in COPA. I was gonna ask what is COPA?
Community community organizing and planning advocate or something like that.
Okay, all right, got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a good thing that social workers be in public offices. That would be the ideal situation
Mm-hmm.
that everybody's who's in public office even has some type of training in social service, and because they are serving the community, they're serving the public. So they should be trained in how to serve the public.
Right.
And empathy should be a big part of that. But I think that part gets lost. Like the human aspect gets lost, and it's mainly just about policy at some point. So,
Indeed.
Yeah, I don't know. Like in school, I didn't get much training on how to be in public office, but I did. Like my concentration was like direct practice. It wasn't like community practice. So I don't know if that was in community practice. Maybe I would have got more training on that, on how to get into office. You know, like the processes of going in, the processes of creating policies, and all that. I didn't get much of that.
Yeah, I think it's probably in that program. I'm sure, like, mental health, we didn't get that. I'm sure child and family services don't get that. So it's in their program.
I think it just seems so big. Like it just seems like such a big issue, and I feel like that may be something that deters some social workers from doing it. You know, because there was one point where I was like, you know, maybe I do want to do more policy stuff, but sometimes it just, you feel like that the issue is so deep that you can't, like, you're not going to be able to just save the world by yourself, you know?
Right.
It's like you come into social work with that mentality, you're like, you know, man, I'm going to be able to change people's lives and, you know, everything. And then you realize the systematic issues, and you realize how deep the systematic issues are. And, you know, it's really a matter of us just staying motivated and staying hopeful that we can make a difference, even if it's a small difference.
Yep.
You know, that we'll continue focusing on the changes that we can make and all that. So,
a little bit at a time.
A little bit at a time, for real. How do you eat an elephant?
Yeah. So those are the articles that I had saved. So,
okay.
March 28th. I hope this thing actually plays. So have you heard? It's in Maryland. It's in Maryland. So you probably heard. Yeah, the little 5-year-old boy when the police were yelling in his face. Okay, I'm on Yahoo, and Yahoo is telling me there's like 2 different videos. It's like a bunch of videos. I'm just trying to figure out which one is the best to click on. I don't think that's a video. So let's go ahead and try this screen share real quick and see what happens. Wait, I can't see. I'm trying to do too much over here on this. Over here, I can't see. So for those of you who have not seen the video or even heard the audio, oh Lord, 51 minutes. Oh yeah, we're gonna definitely have to just see if we can scroll. Mimi, since you've seen it, you gotta tell me where to start.
Understood. So I'll talk to.
Oh, this ain't like you can see it down.
I just saw a clip of it.
Mimi, you gotta tell me where to start.
Get out of the car.
Oh, he's already in the car?
Now.
Oh, he already got him by this point.
Now. Because you're making your situation that much worse for you. When you get home, your mama's going to have something to say to you. Okay? I'm going to talk to your parents too. You know why? Because you bad. Now get out. Okay. Get out.
Come.
All right. Come on.
I'm going in.
You have got to be joking me right now. You got to be joking.
I mean, how do you learn that type of behavior at 5? I don't want no parts of Callsworth.
Okay, see, this is why people need to beat their kids.
See, I heard that everybody talking is a cop, but she don't look like a cop. She look like she a teacher.
Yeah, I think she's a teacher or the aide or whatever.
Man, Mimi, I can't watch no whole 1 hour video of a five-year-old being mistreated now. But she told me.
I mean, I kind of
told me I need to watch the whole thing.
I can give a little summary of it. And then you guys can watch.
Yeah, I mean, I heard it. This was part I want to see right here.
Okay.
If y'all want to talk to him,
all right, that's it. That's all I can take. Cause boy, I swear, somebody treat my 5-year-old like no. So as we talk about social workers and school social workers, like this is where the social worker comes in. Like most definitely,
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of them probably was one of the social workers. Like
who that white lady?
One of them probably is.
Okay, maybe I should read this darn article. Let me skim through here.
I'm taking that based off of like I said, I did work with kids in the Montgomery County schools, and so I've been there for situations like this with my own clients, you know, and so it seems like this is a kid who has like severe emotional distress issues. And so it seems like he's run away from the school, which is a big issue for the teachers. Like once that starts happening, they like really kind of panic and don't really know what to do, because if something happens to the kid, they're like, you know, they're liable, and it's a safety issue. So I've had a couple clients around this age too that, you know, they would run away from the school. And by that point, they have to actually pick them up. You know, they actually have to like kind of grab them and pick them up and have multiple people bring them back to the school. And so I've seen it a couple times. And then once they bring you back into school, if you are in a place where if the kid is in a place where he's uncontrolled, like where he's like going that kid was kind of getting to a place where he was like kind of just not really able to control anything.
Right.
And so they have these rooms where they will put you in.
Exactly.
It doesn't have anything on the walls, nothing in there, no furniture, because, you know, at times where a kid gets to that point, he'll like either try to hurt himself or hurt somebody else, throwing things, trying to break things. So there's certain schools that have the emotional distress program, that they have these rooms that they'll put the kids in when they're at that level. And so I think that's in a nutshell what was happening. He had run away from school. The teacher or whoever it was, the aide, had followed him, was just kind of walking with him. But she didn't want to chase him or try to grab him by herself. So then I guess she had to call the police officer, school police or whatever it was, to help to get him back to the school. Once they got back to the school, I guess he didn't want to be there. He didn't want to be at the school. So once they got back to the school, they started forcing him to go back in. And they were talking really harsh to him, saying that you're a bad kid and all this stuff. And I think that part is really where the training needs to come in, where you have to know how to de-escalate the situation, not escalate them.
They were so out of line. They were out of line, and that's where, like I said, this is where a school social worker will come in handy. So yeah, like you said, you know, you have the separate room that like has nothing in it, or even if it has something in it, the social worker's office, like, or the school counselor's office or the nurse's office or whatever, but not right there in front of all those people. Those cops were escalating the situation just like they do with adults. You're escalating the situation. The boy is 5.
Right. That's the
So
thing.
how about we find out, why is he running away? Why does he not want to be in school? And hey, okay, so if the cops, right, because they can only do what they're legally required to do. If they're required to take him back to school, they can take him to the like the playground, right? Or someone, right? If they're legally responsible for bringing him back to school property, you take him to the school property, then the school social worker can go take him out and go talk to him on the playground or whatever. Hey, what's going on? Why you keep running away? Blah, blah, blah. We gonna wait right here till your mama get here. Whatever. Not sit there. They were screaming in his face, like all this, and you just gonna keep telling him he's bad, he need a whooping. Oh no.
And
no.
I think you're right too about this, because maybe that wasn't the school social worker, because whoever that was kept asking him like, did mom beat you and stuff like that, and that was just showing that that person didn't know anything about the kid. So whoever that was just knew that he was from the school, but didn't really know the kid's story, the child's story, you know, what his home life is like, you know, wasn't in contact with his mom. And that's an issue, because it probably isn't, I wouldn't think that this was the first time that the kid has had issues with it.
Right.
So it doesn't really just escalate to that point right away, you know, usually a build up. But yeah, they definitely did not handle the situation.
They're
well.
Way out of line.
It's like that playground thing was a good suggestion, you know, to finesse them back into, you know, going back.
Yeah, because I mean, he's 5. I mean, sitting there yelling at him and torturing, and then, you know, later on, the cop yelled in his face. In all adult to children trainings that you've ever had, parenting classes, like everything, you cannot de-escalate a situation. You can't yell when a kid is having a tantrum. You don't yell back.
Right.
You can't. That is not going to work. So those cops were in their emotions. They were not in control of the situation, which therefore leads to their situations with adults. You know, I gotta tie it in, like I said before we got off this live, to the Derek Chauvin trial. If they cannot control their emotions with a 5-year-old who's screaming and having a tantrum, because you obviously don't have the training to understand that there's something deeper going on with this kid, you cannot understand that, okay, Derek, not Derek, but dang, I can't believe I remember. Yes, that George Floyd, this big dude. Oh God, there we go again with the big scary black dude. He's so big that you can't control yourself. Like your training doesn't kick in. He's telling you he's claustrophobic. He's telling you he's had COVID before. He's telling you he's been shot before. All these things he's telling you, but just because you think he's under some influence, which again, you should know that if someone has been under the influence, you shouldn't be pressing their body on the ground. So you're just going to keep escalating and escalating and escalating. So if cops had social workers on their team, because when the call, well, I guess when the call came in, they only said that they think he's under the influence. But I'm thinking that maybe the whole program should be set. I don't know. I mean, I also don't want to overwork social workers, but I feel like just because someone thinks that someone is under the influence of a drug, you're not qualified to say that.
Right.
So when a cop shows up, and if there's a social worker on the team, I don't know, maybe that should be their job. Maybe they should be hired by the police department so that that is their job, that they're always called on the scene if someone suspects that someone is under the influence, because maybe they're not. Maybe that's a part of their personality disorder, or maybe they are under the influence, but it's their medication that they're supposed to take. You guys are not qualified to say, because they couldn't hear. Cops get to go and get all revved up in their emotions that they can't hear witnesses saying he has a mental disorder, he has this, he's on medication. They can't hear any of that.
Right. Or do they even believe, you know, like, do they believe it? Because I mean, we're still dealing with the stigma of mental health, and where people don't really realize how serious it is. Like, even with your family, you tell them you're depressed or you got anxiety, they're like, oh, just, you know, you can get over it, you'll be all right, just, you know, just pray or whatever they might say, you know. And so that's one of the questions too, like, do they even believe that mental health is the issue?
Right.
Or do they just feel like it's all about behavior? Like, it's all about, they just making the choice to do this. Like, they're just, you know, they're just being defiant. You know, is that their mindset? And taking it back to CBT, I think that these people who are in these situations, once they get frustrated, it's because they have the irrational thought that you need to listen to.
Yeah.
I'm in control.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's in charge, right? And so, you know, that having that mindset in these positions isn't a good mindset. Like, that's not why you are a police officer. That's not why you are a parent. That's not why you are a teacher. Like, you're not there to control people. You're not there to say that they need to listen to you. They should listen to you. You know, like, if you're trying to serve them, trying to keep them safe, like, yeah, it would be good if they listen to you, but they don't have to.
Right.
You know,
or at least that shouldn't be why you, like, that's, you shouldn't be a cop. Like, people probably are for those reasons, but like, you shouldn't be. That shouldn't be your reason, because that's, you know, even why, that's why people are in the military too. But you shouldn't be.
Yeah, you're right.
Go take your control issues somewhere else.
I don't know if there's a way to separate that, you know? I wonder if there's a way to separate that. Like, maybe the separation of what event police should be called to versus a social worker should be called to. Maybe there should be a separation for that.
Right. When they create, maybe we should help create the program. So yeah, I thought about too, pulling up on Hulu. I started watching emergency. I don't remember what it's called, but it is the 911 dispatch.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the 911 dispatcher had got a call from someone who was suicidal, and she was trying her best to walk them through it. So with what you're saying, I think, yeah, when the whole program, it should be nationwide. When it's created, the 911 dispatcher needs to set up, like, yeah, this one doesn't require police, you know, at least not immediately, right? Because it can get out of hand. But right now, I think I should dispatch the social work team, whatever response social work team, and maybe like paramedics. And then just have the police, like, you know, locally nearby, or, you know, whatever. Or maybe it should be vice versa, or both. The police team should have a social worker assigned to them, and then the social work team should have a cop assigned to them. So when they go out, you know, it's bases covered. Because I don't think you'll need more than one cop initially.
Right. Like, even, for example, cops get called for a domestic situation. You know, that's something that a social worker can be sent to with the cop, you know, because then they have both there, like the social worker. I mean, the social worker is there to de-escalate and figure out what may be needed, what may be happening in the situation, and then the police officer can be there just for safety reasons, you know. And that's something that they do already. You know, they already decide, all right. I mean, I think they send one cop anyway, where whatever calls they get. I'm not sure, but even when an ambulance is called, for example, they'll send the fire department and the ambulance together, right? Like just that's just kind of the standard. And so it may be actually creating a whole nother job, a whole nother career field.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. It's an interesting concept, and I hope talking about it. I don't know. I don't know if that's something that they're actually considering or what's going on with that, and how we can get involved. That would be the next step. Is like, you know, as far as the guy who's saying that we need to be involved in public offices and policy and stuff. Like, how can we get involved in that? How can we, you know, start advocating for that? Yeah. So I guess that's the assignment for us to figure out how we can do that.
That's right. Talk to those social workers that's in that portion of the field, I guess, or just keep being politically active, like we're supposed to be.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a crazy situation going on with the police and mental health not really responding appropriately to mental health situations. And taking it back to the, you know, you were talking about the parents. I don't think a lot of parents are trained on how to deal with these situations either. It's mainly like, if you don't listen to me, I'm yelling, or I'm gonna spank you. You know, it's not really no discussion about why I'm telling you to do what I'm telling you to do, or, you know, there's no room for that. And so we got to be able to create room for that, because that automatic yelling or automatic whooping is, you know, it doesn't really allow the kids to experience their emotions and be able to deal with them healthily and to express them.
Yeah.
It numbs that out. And so that's why they go crazy at school.
I got to start over. My first two kids, that was the way I parented. Yeah. But my second two, I just couldn't start over, you know, come down to their eye level. I did it with the first two, just not as often. Like I was quick to yell, quick to whoop, quick to all that. You know, I went down to their level. These second two, they more likely to get me to their eye level, to talk to them, to do this, to get them time out. So just start with parents. Yeah.
Do you notice either one working better or worse? Your method?
Good question. No, not necessarily working better, because as we know, right, each child is going to respond to something differently. So it all depends on the child. But as far as, like you were just saying, allowing your child to feel their emotions is definitely working for that. Because I got one who wants to talk, but when I'm shutting you down, like, not, but yeah, allowing them that space to talk. Yeah.
Yeah, and be able to deal with their emotions. And that'll even help with, you know, once they become adults, to be able to know what to do with their emotions.
Yeah.
You know?
And to say, I need a minute, or breathe, or, you know, whatever. Yeah. So I'm not going to hold it no longer. I got an Indian question.
Okay.
Breakfast time, sir. So what are you going to feed us? Is it going to be pancakes or waffles?
Oh, you said it's breakfast time. All right.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I would say usually for me, I'm actually my dad is Ghanaian, so there's something called Ghanaian pancakes,
Uh-huh.
and it's similar to crepes. So I would say those. I would say pancakes, Ghanaian pancakes.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
yeah,
Pancakes, so
yeah.
you a keeper.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. But
All
this was
right.
definitely good. This was fun. Thanks for having me. Um, it's good to talk about all the issues and really kind of get different perspectives and interact about what's happening in the world. So it's good.
Yeah, thank you for coming and joining. So all the articles, I'm gonna put the links on, and the guy's YouTube channel, I'm gonna put the links in so y'all can go and look at those yourselves. Do you want any way folks can reach out to you? You want some followers, anything?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Instagram. I think I need to make a separate page, but my Instagram
Okay,
is
you still just professional right now. Okay.
yeah, well, because my Instagram is music, because I do music also. So my Instagram has a lot more of the music stuff, not as much of the social work stuff. So I think I need to make a social work separate page.
Hey,
So,
you're a whole person. You're a whole person. What about your music? What do you do with music?
yeah, I make music. I write songs and create songs, mainly Christian songs, but they're Christian songs, but they're different genres. So it's not just one genre. So I like house music and lo-fi music, jazz and neo soul, all that stuff together. So that's the type of music that I'm hoping to. So that's what I'm doing on there. So on that page, you can see some of the videos of me singing. I'm a singer, so some of the videos of me singing and playing piano, and yeah, just I'm hoping to put out stuff of me creating too, like the process of creating and all that too. So
Okay,
that'll be
that's
on there.
cool. That music you heard in my intro, that you're gonna hear in my outro as well. My son, he's the producer. He got him a little international group. So yeah, we can music too.
Nice.
Sure can.
Wow, that's good. Yeah, that's awesome. Dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll I don't know how if I type it here or not. But,
yeah, you
I'll
can put it in
in
the comment, and then I put it up.
Okay, all right. So I'll type it to you then. All right. Yeah, sounds good. It's at Yeshua the Dwelling Place. There you go. Yeshua the Dwelling Place. Perfect. All
Okay.
Right. Yeah, and then hopefully I'll start a social work page too, where I can talk more about social work stuff. I think that'll be good.
All right, and this is IG.
That's IG and Facebook. Yeah.
Okay. All right, folks. Wait, did I hit share? I did not. IG and Facebook.
Yep. There we go. Yep. So yeah, you guys can follow me. I'm on there posting stuff here and there. So definitely connect.
All right, Joshua. Thank you, viewers. And
I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. I would like to thank my guests for joining me, or simply thank you for watching the pre-recorded episode. No matter what your birth order is, how you self-identify, and whether you like pancakes or waffles. If this is the first time you're hearing it today, I want you to know that you are loved. You were put here for a purpose that only you can fulfill. Until next time, take care of yourself. Be sure that you like and share the videos, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notifications bell. This is RealRam out.